I do believe they are churned up, and we love it. Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell along with Dave Brown, and Corey Macklin is sick this week.
Yes,
Corey,
he is.
get well and get back here with us next week for a fact. What a good show we've got today.
Oh, we got another legend segment. We'll take a look at some memories coming up a little bit later on. Also, the Dundees, they've still got that sort of feud going on amongst all that group of folks, but the Dundees are scheduled to be here a little bit later on in the match. And in addition to that, we've got that situation with Doug Gilbert. Remember where he had to buy the partner last week?
Oh, yeah, he couldn't find it. Get the right partner. Who was it? The King, $2,500, come in there, be my partner, and we'll go in and really kick some stuff. Yeah.
Didn't work quite that way.
There's a whole story to that.
Doug ensured that it didn't turn out that way, as a matter of fact. I think we got some tape we can show everybody.
Why don't we do that right now? Take a look at exactly what happened. Dangerous Doug. Coming over to the ropes, up the ladder. He's got a chain. Showing everybody no disqualification. Oh, boy. Lee got out of the way, and he just drilled Jerry Lawler. And here, this is what everybody was afraid of. Gilbert has been waiting on this all of his life. He put this whole lousy thing together with Brian Lee. Iron Man Jimmy Harris throws Bill Rush back into the corner. Now Lee holding the King while Doug rips him with that chain. Prime Time drops with a knee and crotches him. Rubbing right on the inside of that thigh. Lee drops down. Gilbert drops down. Jimmy Harris a foot in the head. Lawler is in there all by himself. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. The official time, 2 minutes, 52 seconds. Officially, the win will go to Brian Lee and Iron Man Jimmy Harris. Well, with referee Bill Rush down, Doug Gilbert getting ready to put a pile driver on the King. And he's being double spiked by Harris and Lee. And again, they spike Lawler into the mat. 2:52 was the official time. That's how long it took the three of them to beat up on Lawler. And here comes Dundee. Wolfie D. J.C. Ice. And now, Wolfie gets in the middle of a battle with Dundee and J.C. Ice. Dundee says, hey, wait a minute, we'll settle this later. And Christopher going after Gilbert. Brian Lee. Jimmy Harris grab Lawler, pull him out of the ring. Slam him down on the table right here in front of us. As everybody battling everywhere, Gilbert joins it. Dundee coming after to try to help. You know, Dave, this is a great plot by Doug Gilbert. He spent all of that time, and he gets out there and does that. And here these guys come in to save Lawler. Dundee had the right idea. Let's help Lawler out. And then they get bickering among themselves. And Lawler's standing over getting a stew beat out of him.
Well, that's been a great problem since all of that started between the Dundees, Wolfie D, Brian, Christopher. And it's almost like nobody knows who their friends are at the moment. And then they start focusing on each other rather than taking care of the business at hand, which, as you pointed out right here, would be helping Jerry Lawler.
That's exactly right. Bill came out there with the original idea. Let's get in there and help Lawler out. 3 guys are jumping on him. We'll give him some help. And then here we go. They get killing on each other. Boy, I got to tell you, we'll have Jerry here in a match against Brickhouse in just a moment. We'll be back.
Brickhouse Brown has arrived in the ring along with Downtown Bruno as the Downtown Connection continues.
It's not bad enough that we see him occasionally. Now he's going to be out here with everybody that's in the Downtown Connection. Here he comes.
There he is.
May have a little something to say about that affair with Doug Gilbert a little later. I suspect he's got a thought or two.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some comments from the King about that situation and some of the others. He's pointing out to referee Bill Rush that Downtown Bruno is at ringside and should stay well away from the action. We'll hope that is in fact the case.
230 pounds out of Miami, Florida. Brickhouse Brown. 236, Memphis, Tennessee. The King, Jerry Lawler. Your referee is Bill Rush. A one-fall, 10-minute time limit bout. Downtown Bruno in the corner of his Downtown Connection member. Lawler from behind is nailed by Brickhouse.
Brickhouse Brown jumping the bell. He grabbed Jerry Lawler from behind, goes to work on him. Downtown Bruno holding him up from outside. Now back to the center of the ring. A headbutt by Brickhouse Brown. Jerry Lawler starts in trouble here after he was jumped from behind and looked double team. Look at that shot of Bruno. Camera's right there to show it to you. And now let Bruno try to deny that.
Yeah, he'll deny it. You know that. He thinks we're all stupid. Didn't sit here and see it. Brickhouse put under the throat right there on it. And once again, Downtown Bruno grabbing Lawler from behind, choking him, while the referee is over with Brickhouse.
Brickhouse Brown coming back with that big right hand across the forehead. Jerry Lawler not able to regroup when Bruno is choking him and pulling his hair from behind. Meanwhile, Brickhouse Brown on the offensive. He is going after the King back in the corner. Oh, look out! Brad comes down. The King blocked him, and now he's working on him with left and a right, and down to the mat goes Brickhouse Brown.
The King snaps him over the shoulder, and he's ready with that iron fist of his as he pounds Brickhouse, hops over to the second rope. He's up. Here it comes. He blistered him with that. Here's Bruno into the ring. That ought to be it. It'll be a disqualification. And Downtown Bruno trapped in there by the King. Yes.
Oh, the crowd says, let him have it. Get him. Bruno trying to climb the ropes any way out of there. And the way he may get out is to be knocked out of the ring by the King.
That's no bad idea. Lawler again pounds Bruno in the corner. Brickhouse takes a right, rips again, and he goes for the eyes as he's now holding Lawler. And here comes with the boot, Downtown Bruno, Doug Gilbert.
Doug Gilbert has just jumped into the ring after Jerry Lawler, after the situation which we showed you earlier, in which Doug Gilbert turned on Lawler in a match after paying him to be his partner, and now all of a sudden here's Gilbert in here with a choke. That's Gilbert's hand wrapped around Lawler's throat.
Got three of them on Lawler. We need some help out here. Lawler down in the middle again with three of them. Bruno holding on to the legs. Lawler being choked. Here comes Brian Christopher. All right, that'll help even it up. He nails Doug. Then Brickhouse. Lawler battling his way back. Grabs a throttle choke on Bruno. And look at Christopher go, Dave. Oh, here's another one.
Prime time. Brian Lee has just hit the ring. He nails Brian Christopher from behind. And now over to work on the King. Brian Christopher, Doug Gilbert going at it again.
Get some more help out here. Christopher's head bounced off that top turnbuckle by Doug Gilbert. Now Lawler being, here comes Wolfie D. goes for prime time. Lawler taking care of Brickhouse. Now we got it even, except for Bruno.
Up, look out. Jimmy Harris jumps in the ring. While the dressing rooms are emptying here, as we try to get the match sorted. Well, the match is over. Lawler won the match by DQ when Bruno hit the ring. But, man, this brawl has been going on ever since.
Prime time and Doug Gilbert going after Brian Christopher. And Wolfie caught in the corner by the Iron Man, Jimmy Harris, as Brickhouse holding on to Lawler, and Bruno, cheap shot in the belly. You'll get yours. Here comes JC. Here comes Bill Dundee. All right. As the Dundees, Wolfie and Brian Christopher all in there, and finally, when Lawler kicked out of the ring, as help finally arrived, Lawler taking a terrible pounding from Doug Gilbert and that motley ball.
Now Brian and J.C. Ice getting into it. Bill Dundee and Wolfie D getting into it. Meanwhile, Doug Gilbert has blasted Lawler. Brickhouse Brown holding him up down here on the floor. In the ring, these guys are battling each other while Lawler is being beat up by 4 or 5 of them down here on the floor. Lance got their attention, and here they come. Wolfie D, Brian Christopher. Well, and they finally do get him out of here. Well, there's another one of those examples, another example of where they're infighting up there instead of taking care of business.
You guys, hey, come on,
guys.
Why don't you quit that? We got to get out here and you let the guy get beat up. All right.
Hey, let's take a break.
Right,
we'll be right back. Okay, we've still got plenty of action, as if we needed any more after that in there. Well, I tell you, what a situation. These guys just battling and fighting. Oh, here he comes. Really looking happy. USWA heavyweight champion, Doug Gilbert. Comes out here with Brian Lee, Iron Man, Jimmy Harris. I'll tell you one thing. You spent all of that time. That was all a big hoax with his title and all of that just to get Lawler set up. Now, did you? You planned the whole thing.
Now, Lance, you know I never set your king up.
Sure.
Well, see, Lance Russell, how it is. See, right here, I'm holding my USWA belt. And see, Jerry Lawler's holding his USWA world title. Well, all of that is coming to an end, Lance Russell, because, see, you've heard of a house being divided, hadn't you?
Yes.
Well, you look at PG-13, you look at J.C. Ice with his daddy, Bill Dundee. You look at Wolfie D with his so-called little soul brother, Brian Christopher. And then you look all by himself, and you've got the big king, Jerry Lawler. Well, I saw you can't run around in this world like that. So what did I do? I talked to my big man, Mr. Prime Time himself. I talked to my man, Secret Service, Jimmy Harris. And Brian Lee throwed up $2,500, you see, Lance Russell, and we give that to Jerry Lawler. He's not worth $35, more or less to $2,500, but we give it to him, just like you said, Lance Russell, to set his bony neck up. But now, see, when you got J.C. Ice and Wolfie D fighting, you've got no unity. When you've got Brian Christopher and Bill Dundee fighting, you've got no unity. So what we're doing, Jerry Lawler, you can't even pay a person to be your friend. What we're going to do, Lance Russell, he's been right here on this TV show as long as I've been watching. But you are fixing to see the end of Jerry Lawler because I am building an army. I've got one of the biggest men in the world fixed to walk right through these doors right over here, Lance Russell. Yeah, I've got another one, and he's double bad. And his name happens to be Max Muscle. Mr. Muscle, can you come on out here for me?
Max Muscle.
Tell me what you think of this specimen right here.
Well, if he's hanging out with you guys, you know what I think of him.
Yes, sir. Hey, give me a little flex. Flex right there, that camera pic. Oh, my God, look at that, Lance Russell. What is that like? Hey, big man, I want you to go up here in this ring, and I want you to destroy that man. And Jerry Lawler is getting it next.
Yeah, well, it'll be about 3 or 4 of you. You can bet on that if that happens. Look at the size of this guy. Max Muscle, appropriate name, Dave.
He's huge, no doubt about it. T.D. Steele waiting in the ring. Max Muscle, wow. Steps through the ropes into the ring. Waiting to see a big light lit up that said tilt when he stepped in there. I tell you, look at that. Using those ropes, man. T.D. Steele, well, he's not backing up from it, but he's giving away 1,000 pounds or so.
Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable figure. T.D. full of energy, but unfortunately, when you're going up against a mass like that, it may not do you a lot of good. T.D. from behind grabs the arm. He rips that big arm over, turns it again. He better keep on doing it, because this guy, I'll tell you, if he ever gets still, comes ripping in with a clothesline, and T.D. down on the mat, David.
Well, I thought for a minute that T.D. might have found an advantage if Max Muscle was going to preen for the camera for the entire thing, but he still made that raw power pay off as he nailed T.D. T.D. backed onto the ropes now, fired across the way, tries to roll him down. Can he get him off his feet? No. My goodness, strengthen the legs, too.
Grabs Steele, choke slam, fires him down on the mat, comes over to the corner and grabs a big weightlifting belt, puts it around his midsection. I don't know what this is a preparation for. T.D. picked up on the shoulder, just as easy as could be. And now Max Muscle, newest of Gilbert's. Boom! Back slammed him down on the mat. A 1, a 2, and 3.
Oh, powerful, powerful Max Muscle. I'm impressed.
I don't know what else he's got, but I'll tell you one thing. He is a massive specimen. Max Muscle, the winner over T.D. Steele. We got more action coming up in a moment.
Memphis Wrestling, the longest-running wrestling promotion in the United States. Memphis Wrestling is known worldwide for being the home of the greatest wrestling history in the world. Now, it'd be impossible for me to cover Memphis wrestling memories without my longtime friend and partner, Lance Russell. You know, last year's Memphis Memories brought back a lot of memories, but the best part of the event was the opportunity for Lance to come back and help create more memories. And Lance and I have enjoyed this past year, and I'm really looking forward to Memphis Memories 2 on Saturday, June 10th.
Ooh, yes, Dave. Memphis wrestling was a part of my life for so long. It's something that I've always been proud of, and have all been around all over the world, and I promise you that there is nothing like Memphis wrestling. The tradition, the excitement, the history, and the tremendous bond that has been established with a great wrestling fan.
1935, and this is 1994.
That's right.
So now that is 59 years.
This is my 59th year.
Great.
Been here.
Great.
I was at the auditorium the night that Sputnik Monroe made his debut down at the Ellis Auditorium. And that's where I met Guy Coffey and all the rest of the gang, and been friends of Lance Russell's for years.
Last week sure did. He's here right now.
What do you think about this? I love it. It's the greatest thing I've seen here in a long time. Monday night Memphis Memories is a great day, isn't it? Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that. I'm getting a lot of good stuff here.
1969 ticket.
enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am.
What do you think about this?
I love it.
Who is your favorite legend? I know you got so many, Miss Myers. You've been supporting wrestling. Okay. Jerry Lawler.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
Well, great.
It's really great seeing all these older wrestlers, a lot of the newer wrestlers, you know, having a chance to get in here and mix and mingle with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's something to remember.
There's no doubt about it, and that's why I'm really looking forward to this event. I think it's going to be bigger and better than last year's.
And a spectacular night of wrestling. The big news is that on the night that we pay tribute, we're going to be talking about a man that put excitement into Memphis wrestling, my friend. The man is often imitated but never duplicated, the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
There's no doubt that Jackie Fargo was one of the first wrestlers to be a household name in this area, and even today, fans are always asking about the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
Memphis Memories, too, will pay tribute to the original fabulous one in a very big way, highlighted by Jackie's return to the Coliseum and his induction into the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Jackie Fargo has touched the careers of many people. How about Muhammad Ali, Jerry Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, Tommy Rich, Jeff Jarrett, and of course, the fabulous ones, Stan Lane and Steve Kern.
Now, next week, we will have a special video tribute to the fabulous Jackie Fargo.
Be sure to join us next week as we return with great Memphis memories.
Well, I'll tell you, it just thrills me. Memories. There's nothing like memories indeed.
With all the legends, yes.
We have a main event today that's going to be the Dundees and PG against Mr. World Class and Gorgeous George III. Let me turn it over to you, Dave.
Okay.
What
Wait a
is
minute.
this?
Jerry Lawler's bringing chairs out here. I don't know if that means we're going to be here a while or what. But Jerry has brought 2 chairs. Here come 2 more chairs. Okay.
Jerry's walking with a determined look in his eye, so he's not through by a long shot.
Well,
what in the world is he doing?
He's headed back. I don't know. We have 4 chairs. And we've got wrestling action coming up a little bit later on here.
You want to interview these chairs?
Well, no. I've done interviews that...
look.
But, I see he's got in tow, he's got Wolfie D and Brian Christopher. All right. Is he putting Wolfie in this chair? Brian Christopher next to him.
Just sit down and wait a minute.
All right, sit there and wait, he says. Guys, I don't know. He brought these chairs out here, and then the next thing we know, I don't know either. So he shows up with you guys. Brian and Wolfie D both sitting somewhat patiently. Jerry has disappeared again into the dressing area. I'm watching security. Oh, here he comes again. This time he's got Bill Dundee and Jamie Dundee. They're being pointed to the other 2 chairs here. All right.
I'm not sitting there with Bill Dundee and Jamie Dundee over here. I'm not sitting there. I swear I'm not going to sit here. Hey, Dundee's here. I'm not going to sit here. We don't want to sit here. Shut up!
Back to school, apparently, because you've obviously forgot a lot of things. You've obviously forgotten what got you here to begin with.
Well, I haven't forgot that I hate his stinking guts.
Don't make me tell you to shut up again. Just sit there and be quiet and listen for a change. Now, let me tell you something. Jamie, Wolfie, you're sitting here now, glaring across here at each other. And I can remember about 3 years ago when you 2 guys walked into this dressing room right back here in this studio for the very first time. You had on some goofy-looking long shorts. You had on some torn T-shirts. Jamie, you had on a hat that looked like Dr. Zeus. And I started laughing. I said, this has got to be a joke. I said, these two little clowns will never make a dime, much less all they will do is when they step out in that ring, everybody in this crowd and everybody watching at home on TV is going to get a big laugh. But you know what? You know what, Wolfie? You know what, Jamie? You guys proved me wrong. No, sit down. Just sit down. Don't worry about what...
Come on over here, Dundee. I'll step up out of this chair.
Shut up. Sit down. As I was saying, Jamie, you and Wolfie proved me and everybody else that was watching wrong. You guys went on in the past 3 years.
He might have not yet.
Yes, he did. Shut up. You guys went on in those 3 years to prove to everybody that you were a heck of a tag team. You guys won the tag team titles together. Nobody laughed at PG-13. If you look over the last 3 years, the most successful tag team that stayed together, that's won the most matches, has been PG-13. But now what do we got today? What do we got today? We got Jamie Dundee and we got Wolfie D.
Brian over there. No, we got to
Sit down. Sit down. Just sit down. All right, Jamie, you say it's because of Brian. Wolfie says it's because of Bill. Now, I've had my differences with both of them, but listen, guys, I don't, you know, everybody that's watching out there, they seem to think that all the wrestlers are all big buddies. When the matches are over, you go out and eat together. Well, let me tell you something. As you can see here, nothing could be further from the truth. And I'm not asking you guys to be big kissing cousins. All I'm saying is that, Brian, you don't like Bill Dundee because you think he's a little arrogant. You think he's a little overbearing. Hey, well, that may be right, but let me tell you something. That's Bill Dundee. Bill Dundee has been that way his whole life from the time he came here with an arrogant, overbearing partner named George Barnes. And I'll tell you this. He may be arrogant, he may be overbearing, but when you need a partner, you're not going to find a better partner than Bill Superstar Dundee. Now you, Brian Christopher, you're no walk in the park either. You're a smart aleck. Yes, you're a smart aleck. You're a hothead. You are an egomaniac. But I'm going to tell you something. Hey, let's face the facts here, guys. All of those things that I just said about you, Brian, are true. But all of those things go into making somebody successful. If any wrestler ever steps in that ring, if he don't think he's the best, if he don't think he's going to kick his opponent's butt, if he don't think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, the only thing he's going to do is he's going to lose. And I know, Brian Christopher, that you're not a loser, and that's because you think you're the best, and you go out there and you try your best to prove it. Well, let me tell you this. This guy ain't a loser. This guy ain't a loser, and this guy ain't a loser. You're all four. You got to be four of the most popular wrestlers with the fans that ever stepped foot in the ring. And now what we got? Now what we got? We got all four of you guys fighting each other. And what happens is, I'm out here by myself, and I got Doug Gilbert, I got Brian Lee, I got Jimmy Harris, I got this big musclehead Max Muscle and Tommy Rich. They're all jumping on me while you guys are fighting amongst yourselves. And I am personally sick of it. Now, what I'm going to tell you right now is, not only am I sick of it, I've had enough of it. And I think the fans have had enough of it, too. So, Jamie, come here. Wolfie, come here. Come here. Now, I want you two guys to look in each other's eyes, and you just think about the last 3 years. You think about all the guys that have come in here and tried to put your guys down. Think of all the men that have come in here and tried to split you guys up. Think of the time that you had to bring your family and get involved to come out on top of the situation. But you did it, and you came out on top because of one thing, because the two of you were together, because you were a team. Now, are you going to throw all that away? Are you going to throw it away here today? I'm going to give you a chance. If you think that that was all just wasted time, if you think that the last 3 years don't mean nothing, then that's fine. You can go on the back. You can go on the back, too. But if you think PG-13 is worth saving, if you think PG-13 is a good team, then right now is the time to shake hands and show the world that you are a team. No, don't ask him. Ask yourself. Look at him and ask yourself. Come here, Bill. Come here, Brian. Stand up. Come on. Listen. I don't say you two got to hug each other. I don't say you two got to be best friends. I'm just saying that out of all the wrestlers that I've ever been around, and believe me, it's been a lot of them. I've been around a while. I've seen the best come and go. But out of all of them, if I had to pick right now, if I had to go out and get a partner for any kind of match, I would have to choose between the two of you guys. Because as far as partners, the best partners I've ever had, Bill Dundee and Brian Christopher. Now listen, you know, Brian, when you've been in a match and you've had Bill as a partner, you guys came out on top. Even when you were bickering amongst yourselves, even when you think you hated his guts, you guys still were winners together. And that's because you may call Bill and I dinosaurs from the past, but believe me, yeah, you're young and you're full of spit and vinegar, but this man and I myself have forgot more about wrestling than you probably ever know. And believe me, brother, that means a lot. That's why when you combine your spit and vinegar with this man's knowledge and this man's experience, that makes an unbeatable team right there. And I think it's stupid of the both of you to throw something like that away. I think that you guys together, along with myself and along with these guys, we gotta be spending our time taking care of jerks like Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich, Brian Lee, Jimmy Harrison, these clowns, instead of fighting among ourselves. It's stupid, and let's stop it here today. And all it's gonna take is not just a handshake. It's gonna take a handshake. But Brian, it's gonna take you in your mind and in your heart believing that this man is gonna help you. I don't say you gotta drive up and down the roads with him. I don't say you gotta go out to eat with him. But when it comes time to step in that ring, you know that this is somebody you can count on, and this is somebody that you need in your corner. And Bill, I know he's a smart aleck punk, but you gotta admit, he's got talent, he's got ability. He's got a big mouth that he shoots off sometimes a little too much, but you do too, Bill. You're not to blame. I mean, he's not the only one to blame in this little situation. Both of you guys got your faults, but both of you guys got your positives. And it's time now to bury the hatchet, shake hands, and believe that all of us together can get the trash out of the USWA. Come on.
All right, brother, we're going to prove your manhood today. We're just going to see how much of a man you are.
Yeah, shake his hand and believe in him and believe in PG-13 and me.
I'll tell you what, I'll probably regret this in the morning, but if all these fans over here want me to do it, and if you want me to do it,
I want you to want to do it.
I'll do it.
Hold it. Now let me just say a word to Doug Gilbert and Brian Lee and all the rest of you idiots out there. You say Jerry Lawler has no friends? Well, you're the jerks that'll have to buy a dog if you ever want a friend, because each and every one of you would cut each other's throat at the drop of a hat. Well, now I got 4 guys standing beside me, and we're going to form a bond. We're going to form an army that's going to be unbeatable. So bring it on, brother, because we together are ready for you. Come on.
All right. I think think the man has done what I thought might have been impossible a few minutes ago. Jerry Lawler's got them all together. We're going to be back in just a moment.
We've had a studio full of it already today, and we still
yes,
got
we
plenty
have.
of action scheduled in there. This next match is a very good example of what we've got scheduled. Brian Christopher, Brian Lee.
Prime time headed this way right now. Here he comes, and of course he's got the head of security with him. Jimmy Harris. Jimmy wants to be known as Iron Man Jimmy Harris now, I understand. What about it, Brian Lee? Well, I'll tell you what about it. We got a great match scheduled here. How about we keep Harris out of the action, keep him totally away from the ring, and just you and Brian Christopher go at it one-on-one?
Hey, that sounds like a great idea. I just hope we can make it work that way. For some reason, I got a feeling it'll never come out that way with this group of Doug Gilbert, Primetime Brian Lee, and Jimmy Harris, and now Max Muscle and all. Here he comes. Yes, he is a confident young man, is he not?
He is indeed. He has plenty of confidence, but as Jerry Lawler said not too long ago, one thing about it, when you go into a wrestling ring, you got to believe you're the best. You got to believe you're going to win that match, and Brian does. Brian Lee, though, similarly believes he's going to win every match he steps in. Brian Christopher gives away lots of size in this one, but that's about all. As we get set to go, referee Bill Rush will be giving us a signal. Well, we got to get Harris out of there.
That would be a good idea. 289 out of Orlando, Florida, Brian Lee, and weighing in at 222 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, Brian Christopher. Ring that bell, and here we go.
I think every fan in the audience is in the corner of Brian Christopher, at least from the display that I'm seeing from over there. They're jeering Brian Lee now. Go Brian, they're saying. Well, it's a little confusing because everybody in there is Brian except the referee. Brian Lee, Brian Christopher. But the fans are saying, go Brian, talking about Brian Christopher.
Boy, this Christopher has some speed, too. He's got it all. And he's fired into the ropes underneath. And he's got to make his opponent so irritated with those gestures and all.
Well, it's one of those things where, yeah, you're big, so what? I go right under the clothesline.
And he did. Circling each other, Primetime Brian Lee, who is a power wrestler. I think that's the appropriate name for it, because he can muscle you around that ring. Referee Bill Rush trying to get him to back it up. He backs up and makes a good right hand right at the jaw. And the whip across the ring diagonally. Look at here. Up with the feet, slamming the head of Brian Lee into the mat. Jimmy Harris was just about to jump up on the ring apron, Dave.
Yeah, thank goodness he didn't at that point. The match continues. Jimmy Harris still outside on the floor, but he really gave it a thought when he saw Brian Lee in trouble. His instinct is to jump in there. That was a bit of a conference. Jimmy Harris, Primetime Brian Lee, Brian Christopher waiting. They tie it up, backed into a corner is Brian Christopher. He wants a clean break. Brian Lee pulling back a right fist, popped him in the top of the head. Brian Christopher answers. But Brian Lee got the upper hand in that exchange. Brian Christopher again ducks under the clothesline, slams Brian Lee.
Mash those coconuts together. Jimmy Harris, Brian Lee. But from behind, Brian Christopher was out here running his mouth at Jimmy Harris, and Lee got him from behind, slams him down into that mat, and did he power him in there, Dave?
Man, he sure did. And I want you to know, too, that Jimmy Harris came by the desk and picked up that security radio, which has been put over here for safekeeping. He's got it in his hand now. Another slam as Brian Christopher bounces on the mat.
Just flicked that right arm and sent Brian Christopher sailing down. He is strong, and he uses that strength, pounding away on Christopher on that middle rope as the referee tries to count him off and get him to back up into the corner, and a reversal. And Brian Lee lifts up the knee, and he nails Christopher. Is too quick. He couldn't get his foot, but that knee hurt plenty.
Brian Lee grabbing Brian Christopher from behind. He's got him by the hair. Face first into the mat. Brian Christopher in some trouble. Brian Lee has taken control of the situation. With a man with that size and determination, you don't want to let that happen. Brian Christopher battling back. Both of them going at each other. They're back near a corner. Brian Christopher has him in the corner, grabs him by the hair. Brian Lee's head slammed into the turnbuckle. Brian Christopher backs him into the rope. A whip across the way.
He wheeled it in like he had his foot in a stirrup and swung the other one up, flipped Brian Lee, and put him down hard. Christopher coming off with a leapfrog. The super kick. Lee went under it, and Bill Rush, the referee, took the brunt. There's a DDT from Christopher. He has him set up, but here comes Jimmy Harris up to the ring edge, and Christopher nails him with a right. Brian Lee gets over and gets that walkie-talkie, Dave, as he went to swing at Christopher. Brian ducked down, grabbed a leg, and Brian Lee has that walkie-talkie jolted out of his hand. Now Christopher down on the edge. Drops with a knee down. Here comes superstar Bill Dundee. Pitched the chain, Dave.
Yeah, throws him the chain, and Brian Christopher pounds Brian Lee with it. He's got him covered. The referee is headed that way. Count is 2. He only got a 2 count as Jimmy Harris jumped in there. That's a disqualification. Look out, though. Here comes Doug Gilbert. Here comes Brickhouse Brown. Gorgeous George third. We got a ring full of them, all teaming up on Brian Christopher. Here comes Lawler. Here comes Wolfie. Here comes Bill Dundee.
Met 'em man for man, and they weren't fighting each other this time. They were fighting the opposition. As the hand of Brian Christopher is raised as he wins by disqualification. Back with our main event in a moment. Taking a look at another brand new talent here in the USWA. Coming in, Mr. World Class, who will be going against the Yellow Jacket, as the Yellow Jacket in the ring, ready to get in there and go as referee Bill Rush, a little bit earlier, took a super kick. Not a smile on his face.
Yeah,
Why did he frown at you?
He came in here, and he's got a bad attitude already, and he just stepped in the door, Mr. World Class. I didn't really know what to expect, but I am told was an Olympic bobsledder. Now, I don't think the attitude on his face has anything to say about bobsledders in general, but it does say that he probably has a lot of determination.
Certainly hope not.
He's around
what a
behind.
move. I'm telling you, that Yellow Jacket is no slowpoke. And this Mr. World Class, he went in behind and took him down immediately, takes him back to the ropes, and the referee says, let's break it up. You're on the ropes. And he did indeed. And tears out once again, hangs in with the Yellow Jacket's arm, cranks him over, and now he bars it right at the shoulder. He's got some moves. See him turn that hip in there, and he really married him right over and down. Now goes for the wrist lock on the mat, Dave.
Yes, indeed, and a bit of a head scissors, too, a move you don't see too much anymore, but boy, it can sure be effective. He sort of had a combination on the Yellow Jacket there. They're back on their feet. They're back on the ropes. Mr. World Class lets the Yellow Jacket go by and rolls him down with the arm.
He's a leaper, too. You see him just flat-footed go up over the top of Yellow Jacket, We noticed that when he came to the ring, he said, no, I don't want any steps. And he just, from a flat-footed stance, leaped right up onto the ring apron. And he splashes down. 1, 2, 3. And what a successful but short debut here in the USWA, Dave.
But he's impressive, Mr. World Class, with a victory. We've got more coming up. Stay with us.
Could be a landmark day when Jerry Lawler got the team back together. We got to get out of here. With Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.